Welcome to my front yard. As you can see, it's been a few weeks since I've been able to take care of my lawn. There's just so many other things that I need to do. Well, in this video, all of that is about to change. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech with Brett, where I help tech work for you. Today's video is sponsored by Honda Power Equipment to show off the Miimo automated lawn mower. Now, growing up, I always mowed the lawn. That was what I did every single week. I also got a job mowing my neighbor's lawn, where one summer I earned enough money to get my first Nintendo, the Nintendo 64, which was really cool. So I've spent so much time in the yard mowing the lawn, but lately I found that it's just more and more difficult to find the time to get out and mow the lawn. So with the Miimo automated lawnmower, I will be able to have my lawn mowed every week more often without me having to kind of pay attention to it all the time. So in this video, I'm going to cover how to get this set up, what it requires, what are some of the things you may need to know to see if it fits for your yard, and then kind of the expectations you will have in using the Miimo automated lawnmower. So let's go ahead and get this unboxed. Oh wow, so pretty hefty box here. Looks like here we have the charging base, and it does come with an extension cord. So there is the plug that we will use. Then we have some other little drills and equipment here, so it looks like that will help with the barriers. And then here we have the sticks that the dealer will install the barrier cable here. And now let's take a look at the full Miimo device. There she is. So here is the Miimo by Honda. Very simple. I thought it would actually be a little bit bigger, so this is a really nice size. Now on the top, all you do have is a stop button there, so that would probably automatically stop it. And then on the back here, you do have a little control panel. There also is a compartment where you can adjust the height that it cuts right here on the top. And also inside the box was the charging base. So all the boundary wire connects to this. This is connected to the power, and then the wire sends a signal to the Miimo, which tells it to stop, as well as how to get back to the charging base. So a few questions that I have had is, what happens if somebody tries to pick this up while it's going? Well, it will actually automatically detect that and stop. Also, if somebody tries to steal it or take it away, the next time it's put down on the ground, to get it to start again, you will need to enter a PIN code. So it does have that to secure it. So let's go ahead and get this set up. We're gonna have the dealer come and help me install the barrier, and then I'll show you more about how it works. Now the very first step is we needed to determine where we would put the Miimo. So here in the backyard, I have the trampoline, I have these trees, I have a lot of different barriers and obstacles here, and then I have this unfinished garden area that has some pretty rough terrain. The Miimo is able to go over a little bit of bumps, but it would have been too much work here for Miimo to have a great experience. So we ended up deciding to put it in the front yard. Next, we needed to find an area where we could plug in the charging station, and then we needed to make sure that there were 6 feet of clearance in front of the charging station and 3 feet behind the charging station, so Miimo has plenty of room to maneuver around when it is docking for its next charge. Now next was to lay out the boundary wire. So the boundary wire starts at the charging station, and then it creates a continuous loop around the yard back to the charging dock. Now it does need to go around any barriers that you have. So here we have a little garden box, as well as we have a tree that it needed to go around so that the Miimo doesn't continuously hit up against the side. So this boundary wire is about 8 inches from the outside of your yard. Now, depending on how close your yard is to your sidewalk, you may be able to adjust that length. So on the outside here, we actually only did 3 inches, but just know that anything outside of the boundary wire, the Miimo will not cut, and you will need to use your trimmer to get that at the end of the week. Now, the boundary line should hide itself after a few weeks of growth of the grass. And now we are ready to get it programmed and set it out for its first mow. Now the first time you send Miimo out, you should make sure that your grass is no longer than 2.5 inches. Mine was about that. I did have some weeds that were a little bit longer, but it had no problem chopping them all down. Now, as you can see, when Miimo gets up to the boundary line, it will never cross it. So it'll never go out into the road. It will just turn and go the other way and continue mowing throughout the yard. Also, Miimo does have features built in so that if something comes in its way, it will stop back up and turn around and go the other way. Now, a typical lawnmower may leave trimmings depending on how long the grass is, but because the Miimo is trimming just a small portion of the grass every single day, it only leaves these tiny little filings on the ground. And after a while, it will actually start to create a thatch layer that will actually improve the lawn overall, making it so I don't have to water as much and it does not get as dry. Now, once Miimo has reached a low battery, it will automatically find the closest boundary wire, and then it will follow that along the edge until it gets near the charging dock, and then it will dock itself and it will charge back up so it's ready to go at the next scheduled time to mow. So it took the installer about 1 full day to complete everything, setting up the barriers and getting Miimo working correctly. Thanks, Robert, for a great job. Now, a few other things that I learned about Miimo. So first, inside the box, there is a set of replacement blades. So on the bottom of this, the little thing that spins has a few blades that comes out to cut the grass, and those should last up to a year depending on use. And then here are some replacements. So after a year, you could do your own maintenance to be able to replace them. Now, one big question that we had in the very beginning is, would the Miimo be able to go from my front yard to my backyard? And now, because we only have a little gate separating them, the answer was no. This section up here in the front yard is so big that it's enough for one Miimo. If I wanted to have a second Miimo, I would put that in the backyard, but I want my front yard always looking nice and clean, so this is where we put it. Now, when the Miimo is actually cutting the grass, it will just go out and go back and forth. When it hits the barrier, we'll turn around and keep going. There is no set pattern or GPS tracking or anything like that, so it will go about. It's said that this is more of a maintenance lawn care, so instead of having to go out and cut down a bunch of bushes, this is going to keep your lawn looking nice all the time. And to be able to do that, we've actually set this up so that it will turn on every night in the middle of the night, so you won't actually see it go. So every day my lawn will be getting cut and it will look very pristine each and every morning when we get up. And it will be able to do that by using its battery power. So it will go out, once its battery is low, it will come back, charge, and go back out until it has finished that time. Now, you do want to make sure that when you're setting up your time, your sprinklers aren't going off at the same time. So we had to make sure that those didn't line up. So now in our first test run, we just kind of had it drive around for a little bit, and it did a great job in cutting. We haven't let it get the entire lawn. So now we're gonna have it actually go about again tonight, and I'll show you guys an update and what it did in the middle of the night. And then I'll give you another update as a few days have passed and how it looks. Okay. So it's 1 in the morning, and I just wanted to make sure that the Miimo went out. And look at him go. So he's gonna go out for the next 4 hours, cut the lawn. See you in the morning. After letting Miimo run for a few days, this is the final result. So here around the edges, just like I mentioned around the boundary line, we still need to get out there and trim. So it's Saturday morning, I finally have some time. This should only take a few minutes. Now, after a final cleanup, I'm ready to show you the full result. So here you go. This is what it's like after having Miimo for 1 week. It was super easy to go out, clean up the edges, trim around the outside. Took me only a few minutes to do compared to the half an hour or so that it usually takes me to mow this lawn, and I am very impressed by the results. It's so nice to have this lawn always manicured, so every time I go out there, it looks really beautiful. And then the only time I need to go and do some cleanup is after the edges have had a little bit of growth. I just need to pull out the trimmer And then in a few minutes, I'm done and it's out of the way. So at any time to stop the Miimo or to check its settings, all you need to do is press the stop here, and then you can go into the settings. So here, pretty basic controls. I'm going to click enter to start it again. So right here it's saying it's going to charge, and then it's going to mow at 1 a.m. So if I want to quickly go to the menu, I can hit enter here. So we have work timer. So right here, these are all the days that it's going to turn on. So I could actually go through and turn days off if I wanted to very easily. So we're going to go back here. At any time, I can also choose this return to home, and so it will automatically find the closest barrier, and then it will go right back to the charging base. You also have a few other things where you can have it start at certain places. You can turn on a seasonal timer, so it's actually going to not mow as often, maybe at the end of the summer or in the spring. So you have all those options there. We have now had Miimo for just about 1 week, so it's time to give you my final impressions. So first of all, it is incredible to wake up every morning and the yard is perfectly trimmed. Now, one of the things I do wish that the Miimo had was the option to connect with an application so that on my phone I could control if it was going to go out or not at night. Over the last week, there's actually been quite a bit of rain, and so I did have to come out here and turn it off so that it wouldn't mow while the rain was going. And then the next day I knew it wasn't going to rain that night, so then I came out and just had to turn it back on. So that would be one thing that I really like, but for general upkeep, I really haven't had to do anything else. It will automatically come out, mow, and about every hour is how long the battery would last, and then it would go back and charge and then mow again, and it just keeps working until the time that it is set to stop, and it will come back and recharge, and it is ready for the next night. It's really great how quick and easy that is to do. Now, there are many advantages to having Miimo around. A few of those that I found just in the few days is while Miimo's mowing, I can actually get some other things done. One is I could actually play with the kids. Here we drew some hopscotch and we were able to jump around. Another thing that I could do is I could actually finish mowing the other part of the lawn, or I could take care of other yard work like weeding the flower beds or just cleaning up the sprinklers or whatever it may be. Now, a few other things that were really nice to have is that Miimo is completely electric, so there was no gas fumes on me. It wasn't very loud. I, of course, wasn't mowing at all, but those are some of the things that every time I'm done mowing with my actual gas-powered lawnmower, I really wish I didn't stink. I wish it didn't take me so long, and having Miimo around was able to do that. One of the things I really like about Miimo is how quiet it is. It's able to go out throughout the night without bothering anybody. And right now you can hear that there's a lawnmower going in the background. Not really obnoxious, but it's just kind of nice that it can stay quiet and it's very stealth. Now, there really is so much more that I need to learn about Miimo. So after a few more months, I'm going to be doing a full in-depth video about all the things that I've learned. Some of the things I'm going to check out is how much energy he uses going out every night and how often I really need to have him out. Right now I have him out every night, but maybe I need him out only every few days to really keep it looking fresh and clean. So if you guys have any further questions about Miimo, I will leave a link in the description to the full Miimo website. And if you would be interested in checking out Miimo, you can contact a dealer and they can come out and see if your home is suited and all the details there. So when I finish my full review, I will leave a link in the description here, and any further questions, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Good boy.